Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another Mecha model kit review, and today I'm taking a look at the MAILES Byakuchi drill and claw arm, and this once again is from Kyokai Senki. Well, at least it's from its offshoot manga, Frost Flower. As usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan, where it would cost you $20, $1 give or take, more than the standard OG version of Byakuchi, and I will throw a link down there in the description. Now let's check it out. So when it comes to the build of the high-grade Byakuchi with the drill and the claw arm, this is pretty much exactly the same kit we would have seen with the original version of the Byakuchi. The only thing that's really different in here is 3 runners, otherwise it is the exact same kit with the exact same colors. So compared to a standard high-grade gunpla kit, this does come with a lot of plastic inside of the box. That is 13 runners, a lot of them are half or smaller than your full-sized runner. And as for the ones we would have seen before, we've got A in white, which is a lot of the armor, A2 once again in white with a lot more of the armor. B then would be the grey of the inner frame. This does not have a full inner frame per se, but it does at its core. C is some more additional white parts. Runner D and D2, more grey parts, these are mainly for the limbs. E1, a clear piece for using in the eyes. E2 in yellow. F and F2 bringing that splash of blue to the Byakuchi. And when it comes to the runners that are brand new for this kit to make up the new arms, we've got runner H2, these are all the grey parts. Runner I, once again matching in that blue, and runner I2 being the white parts making up the mass of the forearms. Finally, this is a kit that does come with stickers, and when it comes to color correcting ones, there's a whole lot in here, so you're going to need some yellow and gold paint, maybe some grey too if you want to get this perfect, and finally we do have some marking stickers in here. These are just the standard sticker type, they're not great, but you can label up your unit with these if you want to. Just like we would have seen with the Kyokai Senki line, this is a solid, nice build. Everything builds up nicely, it's chunky, it feels heavy. There's lots of layers, especially to the main body. But besides the forearms, the new weapons in here, this is exactly what we would have seen before. You don't have gold for inside the chest once again, so you may need to paint that. The overall build is absolutely awesome, but this kit does have one flaw. The hips tend to separate when you actually move them outwards, so I do recommend taking the 2 parts that attach into the upper leg of the hips and cementing them together. That'll save you a lot of nightmares in future. But as for what is new inside of this box, we've got the drill arm. This builds up with a lot of large parts, but gives you a big, hefty weapon with a lot of nice detail and color separation matching the Byakuchi itself. As for the claw, there's even more to this because we do have some moving parts. We've got the white that builds up into the armor, pistons, separate to the actual claw parts which move, and we do have the claw and bucket aspects of it, making it look like a big old excavator. I will mention the gold, sadly, on the pistons. Once again, that is a sticker, so you're going to have to paint this or use the stickers. But overall, this arm looks pretty cool. As for the finished build, once again, this is rock solid besides those hips, and the new arms add some extra over-the-top mass to an already over-the-top looking real robot. So jumping now into the aesthetics, and the first question you might actually have about this version of Byakuchi is what actually makes it any different to the last 2 Byakuchi releases? That being the OG Byakuchi that would have came out either last year or the year before maybe, which was a fantastic kit, or the premium Bandai version, which was quite similar. Now when it comes to the OG Byakuchi, this might be one of my favorite mecha model kits of all time. It does everything I like when it comes to a more realistic real robot. It actually looks like a believable real robot. It's stocky, powerful looking, heavy duty, but at the same time it is very industrial looking. And when it does come to the premium Bandai version, once again this is physically identical to the standard OG release, but this leans more into the militaristic real robot feel with that green on brown camouflage style color scheme. So now popping the one that we're taking a look at today side by side with the other 2 versions, you can see that it is pretty much 90% identical. The only thing that is different is the new arms, otherwise it is 100% the same as the OG Byakuchi. So much so that it actually does include some of the leftovers on the runners, so if you don't like these arms, you do have the option of the previous forearms and all of the hands for using with it. As for the other leftovers, we do have the missile pod as well for up on the shoulder backpack, but that shoulder backpack isn't included. I'll talk about that later though. But yeah, because this is so much, well, I was going to say similar, it's actually 100% identical to the OG version. I'm just going to take the two arms off for this review and pop them on my OG version, purely because that one is panel-lined, has some decals, and I've painted the actual non-painted parts on it, that is the gold and the yellow. Besides that, I'm only really doing it because that version looks a little better because it had that extra effort. So yeah, moving on to what is actually new, and that is the weapons included in here. First off, we've got the drill arm. Once again, like I said already, this features a very nice sculpt, color separation, and some nice detailing. I will mention that the inside of the blue shield part is actually meant to be in grey. That's what it looks like in the instructions, so you might want to paint the inside of that to give it an extra layered armored feel. When it comes to actual moving parts and articulation on it, you've got two moving parts. That's 2 points of rotation. So the cylinders kind of move in twos. You've got the front two, the middle two, and the rear two you can rotate around. On top of that then, you've got the usual Kyokai Senki style peg joint in the forearm, which means it just kind of rotates on a point, which means it does work well for thrusting poses and relaxed in close to the body poses. As for the claw that's in here, that is a little bit more detailed and does move a little bit more. First off, it is an absolute shame about the gold. There is no gold on the center of these pistons, and if you actually did want to paint that gold instead of using the stickers, there is a nasty hollow part round back, which the stickers, happily or unhappily, do cover up. We've got a smooth opening and closing gimmick to both of these. That means the top and bottom can open. They don't open together, they open separately, but it's a nice opening and a nice closing. Honestly, the thought of using something like an excavator as a weapon is just so gritty and mechanically savage. I love it. But yeah, once you get both of those arms onto the Byakuchi, I thought these would look really ridiculous, but it works in a cool kind of way. It's a hunchy, squatting style robot, and these just really add to it. It almost looks insectoid. These are pretty cool. So next up, moving on into the accessories that come inside of the box, and these are more leftovers than accessories. First off, we do have the OG forearms from the standard Byakuchi. On top of those, we do have all of the alternate hands for a grand total of 5 hands. If you want to know more about these, you can check out the full Byakuchi review. On top of that then, we have the forearm shield and that missile pod. Now, things that are missing from this kit that would have been in the OG box, that would be the backpack and the rifle. It is a bit of a shame because the rifles in here are really cool, but the backpack being missing means you can't actually use that missile pod. That is actually for attaching onto a backpack arm, so without it, it cannot be used inside of this box. Or should I say, with this set right here, well, at all. Finally then, when it does come to the articulation on the Byakuchi, this is absolutely fantastic. These kits are so much fun to pose because they've got a non-standard, non-humanoid feel and look to the design. However, I will mention once again here that the hips on this do separate when you're moving it around, which is a massive pain in the arse, so I do recommend, while building this, to cement them in place. The AMAIMs that came out after the Byakuchi, like the Kenbu, actually had more armor in their upper legs, which made sure that this did not split. But in this kit, it splits, so it needs to be cemented. But yeah, besides that, there it is in the usual pose, testing out everything, and this can pose up a storm. And funny enough, even with those big old weapons, it does an absolutely perfect job. But yeah, verdict-wise, it's exactly the same as we would have seen with the Byakuchi. It's a fantastic kit, just with some extra over-the-top weaponry. So yeah, there's not really much else to say about this version of the Byakuchi. If you do want to see more and see a more in-depth review, then check out the full review of the Byakuchi without the drill and the claw arm. Otherwise, it's the exact same kit. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you want one of your own, link down there in the description. Make sure to come back for more Mecha Model Kit reviews, and I will see you next time.